I was driving yesterday to one of the biggest conversations I've ever had in my life. And I did what I've always done whenever I've had a moment of, oh, something's going to happen. What do I do? Right. And I put Ben Howard on. I went to Spotify, I clicked play Ben Howard, shuffle, go through the list. Promises, Black Flies, you name it, just go through it. And it reminded me in that moment, as I was about to go and have one of the biggest conversations I've ever had about Beat music to somebody, that why this matters to me and why I think that Beat About Music is so important to the way that artists and fans like me need to evolve. Because I have listened to Ben Howard in some of the most important moments of my life since the day over a decade ago that I watched him play a tiny gig at the Hub in Plymouth, where he swigged whiskey, played with India Born, did a set for a couple of hours, and just blew my mind. And I have been connected to Ben through his music ever since then. Yet, when I think about it, I have no relationship, formal or informal, with Ben Howard. I'm not on a mailing list. I don't go to his website to engage with him. I have never engaged with his socials. I have never, at one point in my life, kind of gone to a Ben Howard owned space to engage with him. Yet, over the last decade plus, and I mean, if I went back through my Spotify Wrapped, Ben Howard would be number one nearly every year. And I must listen to him 50, 60 times a month. If I have to sit down to write something, if I have to sit down to think about something, if I'm going through a moment in my head, whatever it might be, my kind of go to is Spotify Ben Howard. And I think this is the problem that I think underneath everything that I'm looking at with Beat About Music is to try and address, which is that relationship between me and Ben should be owned by Ben. It should be monetized by Ben. It should see value for Ben. It should have a direct moment for me where I'm not interfacing to him through some third party streaming platform. We talk a lot about how streaming platforms are rubbish for revenue, and that's true. But they're also rubbish for relationship development. They're rubbish for moving me through how Ben's evolving. I hit shuffle and Spotify predetermines to me what songs I'm going to listen to. I get into my zone and I go through the pattern of what I've listened to, but that platform isn't looking out for how Ben's evolving and how Ben might be able to take me on that journey. And this is what we're trying to change with Beat About Music, because it was that gig that inspired me to create this, because I found it such a nightmare to get to that gig in the first place. When I did arrive, I had a moment that was like, oh, this is phenomenal. Like this, and has genuinely changed my life in nearly every aspect since. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that when relationships like mine grow through a connection to music, they also stay connected to the artist, and that artist can kind of have that two-way relationship with me. So while we talk a lot about what kind of features we're releasing and the 4% club, and it's all very kind of tactical and a little bit kind of, you know, yeah, like, it's features and functions and things. The underlying premise for me has always been that the fan to artist relationship is incredibly special, that music means so much to people. You don't have to be a hardcore music fan for music to have an important relevance in your life. I'm not a hardcore music fan, but music is a go-to space for me when I am doing something, thinking about something, need something. And the way that an artist communicates a message through song is the most powerful human experience that we've kind of managed to create. I always say sport, music, they're the two things in human life that just allow us to kind of be a little bit freer, be a bit more expressive, be a little bit able to explore something within ourselves that we don't necessarily get to touch on every day. Artists and fans need to have a place where that relationship can stay special and that relationship can grow and develop and change. That people like me can give back to Ben. That I should have no issue, supporting Ben. You know, his music has helped me. So it's a two-way dynamic that at the moment for most independent, emerging and developing artists, it just doesn't occur. You don't get an opportunity to do that. There's no space to do that. Messaging and things are controlled by social media algorithms. DSPs decide which of your tracks are going to play on shuffle, or if you're even going to get pushed to somebody. Most artist websites are low traffic, end of the line. I mean, I have visited Ben Howe's website, which is part of research for lots of this, and it's not a place I'm going to do anything, right? So artists need to be able to look after their communities, and people like me need to be able to thrive within those communities. Because if we do that, it becomes a symbiotic relationship of give and take, and that's what music should be, has been, and can be as we look forward to what the future of it could be shaped like. It's not about plays, virality, hits, audience reach. It's about community engagement, retention, give and take, and reciprocal, like the spinning of plates within that. And that's a much harder kind of concept maybe to grasp, but I think it's the direction that music is traveling in, and something we should be proud of. And what we're trying to do at Beat About Music is provide the infrastructure to be able to do that, so that people like me and artists like Ben can have a relationship that is mutually beneficial.